We've got some
Hey,
fresh new
I'm
young
Luis.
talent.
And
I'm Luis.
That I
And
know
you're
you
listening
haven't
to the
heard
Content
before.
is Profit podcast.
We spent the last 4 years learning the strategies and techniques from some of the top marketers in the world on how to turn your content into profit.
If you'd like to learn more on how to turn your content into profit, go to contentisprofit.com.
All right, guys, today we have a question for you.
Yes.
Are you feeling even more lost than when you started your entrepreneurial journey? Or if you are halfway through your entrepreneurial journey, are you still lost with everything that's out there, all the tools, the educational resources, right?
I think that's a fire topic. But before we get started, guys, please go ahead, subscribe, smash that subscribe button. It has been amazing. This is episode 14. Thank you for all your support out there. We've seen the feedback. We've seen the comments. We do these live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we love for you to be here with you. So if you are listening, make sure to subscribe and go to our Facebook page where we do these live.
Yes,
Follow us at BIZBROS Co. Share it with people.
Yeah.
If you have the love.
We want to reach as many people as possible so we can help them, and we can only do that with your help by sharing this podcast with everybody else.
The last thing before we get into topic, we actually had a really cool call last week to talk about something of really, really cool value that we're going to give you guys for free. For now, you can go, at the time of this recording, you guys can go to contentisprofit.com. Leave us your number one question there. And we'll
send you one sexy video answering your question. And by sexy video, we mean just standing in front of the camera.
We are going to be wearing
being
t-shirts,
silly.
I promise. Now, that has been awesome because last week, actually Friday, we had a ton of engagement in the podcast. We have a ton of questions coming in. So if you have questions along the way with us, drop them in the comments below. If you guys are listening, please send us a DM, send us a question, go to Content is Profit. But we promise we're going to stay live on Facebook after the episode is done.
Yeah, leave us as many questions as you want. As many questions as you want.
And we'll answer your questions right there. So, FONZI, get us rolling right here, man. Get us rolling.
Yeah, so actually today's topic, guys, we're going to talk about how much is too much self-education, right? And I think the self-education, self-made topic has been a little one. I'm going to be a little polarizing here. I'm going to say it has been a little overused in the entrepreneurial world.
100%.
Because everybody's like, yeah, I'm a self-made millionaire, you know.
What do you think about self-made, though?
I do not agree because you learned everything through someone, right? Even if it was your own initiative to go and learn it, you probably are learning it from someone, right? You grabbed a book that somebody else wrote, right? And then you learn from that one person. Self-made, I would say, is like you don't read anything and you discover everything all on your own without any external help. That's what I would consider self-made, which in literally the age of information that we live in, I doubt anybody is like self-made.
There's always some degree of like help at some point.
At some point, yeah.
There's some point.
I mean, I think you can be super self-motivated, yes, but the help is gonna come from someone else. So why did we pick this topic, right? Today, as we are recording this podcast, we are in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic, right? Where everybody is in quarantine and they are pretty much stuck at their houses, or like we are pretty much stuck at the office. We
live here. If you turn the camera around, where you actually can see,
you see the beds.
Fonzi's bed. So it's all good.
Yeah. So that being said, right, like I feel that there's a lot of people now looking for opportunities in the entrepreneurial in the digital marketplace, and also the people that have been in the digital marketplace, they are now trying to profit, which we talked a little bit about that in the last episode.
They're capitalizing on the opportunity.
They're capitalizing exactly. They're capitalizing on the opportunity by serving others. Yes, there might be people that might have some bad intentions, some people that have the right intentions.
Just make sure that you do your homework to see the people that you're following.
Make sure you watch the last episode and leave us a comment about it.
That was amazing. Yeah, that was a great discussion that we actually had out there. Super polarizing. We actually went after the episode went live, and we actually had conversations with people like in real world, and like there's some people that don't agree with us. One of those, our mom.
Yeah, no, 100%. So you're
So
always
it's
gonna
okay.
find people that agree and disagree. And when you find people like that is when you know that what you're talking about is actually meaningful, right? So getting back on topic, right? We got all these people coming into the marketplace, and
Yeah.
there's so much information, guys. So much, so many people selling these information packages on how to do this, how to make money online, or how to start your digital marketing agency, you name it, how e-commerce, whatever. And to be honest, we were in that spot, right?
Selling or learning? Both.
Both, right? And
Yes.
but I feel like we were stuck in a very long time in the
Yeah.
learning phase, which again is great, is awesome, but at the end of the day, you need to do something about it. And I want to quote, I think it's Tony Robbins, the one that said this. Everybody says knowledge is power, right? He says knowledge is not power. He says knowledge is potential power, but execution is power.
Oosh.
Let's put one together for Tony Robbins.
Mega
Good job.
gun moment. I love it.
So guys, like, that's what we want to talk about today, right? We want to talk about, yes, you got to learn, but it's even more important to take action, right? So, Luis Daniel, we have a story, right? When we started, kind of like, we were all over the place. We didn't know
All
what we
over the
wanted to
place.
do. We were buying books, getting into courses, pretty much getting into any lead magnet that we would come across.
Yeah, I'm actually, I want to actually take this story back. Not even
Go
like,
ahead.
not even when we started internet marketing, right? Like, or the online world. This was like when we started to even want a business, right? So one day we used to live in this house. It was 7 bedrooms, massive house. We call it the frat house. And it was 5 of us living in the house, plus 2 dogs, plus a cat. So it was intense.
It was a disaster.
It was a disaster. Yeah, I was able to keep my room pretty clean, but oh well. But yeah, it was fun times, college times. So at the time, we started to obviously start implementing some ideas, trying to find out what we want to do, and so on. So that's when our entrepreneurial world really started. And then one night, we have an amazing roommate. That will remain nameless right now because I don't think we have permission to share this story from him, but we love him. Anyway, so he walks in and he's like, hey guys, I have this wonderful idea, right? Let's sell stickers. And as soon as he walked into the door, and said this, we're like, wait, what? Like, he was never the guy that really showed any entrepreneurial spirit per se, right? Mm-hmm. Very, very smart dude, but we never saw that side of him. And we're like,
Yeah.
because we didn't know what to do, we're like, heck yeah, let's do this, right? Like, it will be a great at least learning experience, and it was.
Yeah, we I'm gonna say we still are. We're getting better at it, but we were very yes man.
Yes,
we were
yes.
like, yes, let's do it.
We did not understand the power of no.
Yeah.
Of the right no. So anyway, so we got super excited and we're like, let's do this. Okay, how are we gonna do this, right? So this is a guy that researched a ton, that is very smart, and he had already some options. So he's like, hey, we're gonna sell. I did my research, and we're actually gonna go sell vinyl stickers, right? Mm-hmm. And we're like, perfect. We know nothing about vinyl stickers. Let's do this. So he kind of gave us like a quick class, a quick version of it.
I'm gonna make a little parenthesis here. I think what I found the most appealing of it was that stickers actually have huge margins. Like, you can literally make
massive.
Yeah, you can make a sticker for like 5 cents and you can sell it for $5, which is huge.
Or even $10.
Or
we saw
even $10.
Yeah, it's massive, right? So we're like, okay, perfect. So until then, everything good with what we learned after, niche down, just vinyl stickers, just like super high quality vinyl stickers. So he had like the type of vinyl ready to go. He actually purchased a machine that cuts the stickers for you. You plug it into a computer. You have like this software that was like open source, so he could like modify it. And that was his thing, right?
Yep.
And then our job was to go out and actually sell these stickers. Like, to who? We had no idea. But we started like developing, these relationships and going to stores and so.
Not only that, we had no idea how to sell
We had
anything.
zero idea. That was the time that we started to actually work on sales per se. But we're like, okay, what do? Let's do a Spotify store, right? And right now, I think with like
Spotify.
Shopify. Yeah. Wow. I'm like, is that new?
Whoa.
Whoa. Yeah. For those listening on Spotify, that's not a thing. Okay, that's not a thing.
We were beta testers for Spotify.
It did not work. It clearly did not work. Anyway. So a Shopify store. So we started like learning everything about Shopify, and we dove into this adventure, right? So we started selling some stickers. We go to local stores. It was a fun adventure, very fun learning experience at the time. And then, right, we decide to go to this event in Orlando.
Wait. I'm gonna interrupt you here real quick. During all this, while we were doing the stickers, we had no idea on how to design the stickers.
Zero.
Obviously, we didn't know how to make the stickers, what materials we needed. So, being the three of us, we were like, okay, you learn this, you take care of this, you take care of that. And for example, for me, I remember I was the one in charge of learning kind of like the design part of the stickers.
Yeah.
And I've never used anything Adobe, right? For those that know, Adobe helps you design, photography, whatever. That was a terrible explanation.
Wow. just Google it, guys.
But I remember that I was like, Udemy course, how to do this, how to do that. And I started just like literally information
overload.
And it was so much. I didn't know honestly where to start. And then I would just be jumping from side to side. And at the end of the day, I think I didn't get anything done because I was always on learning mode.
Yeah. So while Fonzi was in learning mode, I was trying to learn, sales, and same thing, right? Because at the time we weren't selling anything. Like we had no idea how to approach these people. So for me, it was more like just in time learning, right? It was like, okay, I need to learn this thing. Okay, let's like read a little bit about it and then execute right away. But this event kind of came along. It's called the Surf Expo. It's massive for like retail and brands and stuff like that in Orlando, where like different stores will go to this event and sell their merchandise, right? So we actually got to the event and we had no idea that we actually had to have like a functioning store to do this. So we had like a half site like on Shopify kind of built up, and we're like, okay, we're in line for registration, and this lady's like, okay, what's your store? Where are you guys located? And we're like, online. Do you guys have a website? And we're like, kinda. Yes. So I remember it was like super sketchy. It's like texting the other guys like, hey, we gotta build this up like right away. Like it has to be done in like 2 minutes. And we were able to do it. And they finally said, okay, you guys are like a legit business walking, right? And we were definitely not a legit business at the time. But anyway, so we kind of started walking through the whole thing, and we got super excited, super motivated. There was music, the whole event vibe. And then we see one thing. And that one thing was the demise of that business.
What was it?
It was the screen printing machine. It was a 4-head screen printing machine. Hey, keep in mind, we were doing stickers. So we went there
For
stickers, to develop relationships, to sell stickers, or figure out and learn. But we saw a screen printing machine. So we saw an opportunity. Our friend fell in love with it. We really liked it.
I'm gonna add here, we saw an opportunity for faster cash.
Exactly. I think it was like, faster cash, like bigger volume.
Yeah, we were operating from a place of need.
Yes.
And we were like, ooh, yeah, everybody needs t-shirts. Like we can make t-shirts. And if you guys have listened to some of the past episodes, my first like passion with business was actually a t-shirt business, like that I never was able to start. So that hit me like in the heart. Like that was like, okay, we got to do this, right? And then it took little to no convincing, but the one thing was like, okay, there's no money to buy this thing because it's like $5,000, and we don't have $5,000. So what do we do? So we left it like that. And our awesome friend and business partner basically surprised us one day. It's like, guys, guess what? Surprise!
I just purchased the screen printing machine, which was like a 4-headed. You could do like 4 colors, 4 t-shirts at a time.
I'm having PTSD right
now. And the whole thing started. So now we have 2 products. We are learning stickers and we're learning t-shirts because they were both awesome opportunities.
Yeah.
But
so our focus got
divided.
So split up like
so divided
8 times.
So anyways, we end with the t-shirts. We actually end up being semi-successful. I mean, we had orders like,
I wouldn't say semi-successful because we never actually got to pay ourselves. So
we sold more t-shirts than stickers.
Yes, we sold yes, we sold more t-shirts and stickers, but when you put it in perspective on first, I think, did we manage to make enough money to run like a business? No. And then was the stress that it provided worth the work and the t-shirts that we sold?
That's where I'm actually going.
Oh, yeah.
That's where I'm actually going.
I want to hear all about it.
So at the time, our friend had, he was in school. He was in school. I just graduated, had my full-time job. And then FONZI was about to graduate, or he was like around that area too with kind of like a part-time, full-time job.
Yeah, I was about to graduate.
So, during the day we would do that, and then we will use those relationships to start selling these t-shirts. And, we were fortunate enough to get like a big client where big for us meant like 300 t-shirts. So we did a couple events, and if you are live right now, you probably saw my brother's face when I just said 300 t-shirts. And if you are listening to the podcast, please go watch the video because it is beautiful. So I remember like coming in at night, and one of the things that we decided to do was it's water-based. And we were operating, keep in mind, it's in Florida with a lot of humidity and a lot of heat, like 90 degrees at night. And this water-based ink will dry like crazy. And first we had no oven, so like we will put all these 300 shirts all around the house to dry. And, it was a little intense.
So for those that have never seen, how printed t-shirts are made, it's kind of like a little mesh.
Exactly.
Super thin, like the little holes are super tiny. And you have, with a squeegee, you have to push the ink through this mesh, and then it goes into the shirt, right? Yeah. So when you push it, obviously some ink stays in the mesh, and because of the weather, you have to have a certain type of weather,
temperature in the room.
Because of us living in Florida, that thing would dry up super quick. So next time you would go to kind of like push the ink through the mesh, it won't work, and it's all messed up. And
then the t-shirt will get ruined. And
and the mesh will get ruined.
And then you had to start the whole process again that took like 3-4 hours to like reset the whole machine. And anyway, so will you just imagine starting this process at 8 p.m. at night, wrapping up at 4 a.m. to sleep 3 hours to go back to work. So this was clearly not sustainable, and that's when we learned a really important lesson about the process. If you don't love the process, it might not be the option for you. But at the same time, we were learning so many things that we were never able to focus on one and be very successful at it because we were scared to kind of miss out on other opportunities, right?
Exactly. And then, so bringing this back to how much is too much, right?
Yeah.
We were first operating from a place of need for the need of cash, right? Quick. We wanted to make something quick. And at first we saw the opportunity with stickers. Yeah. Then we split our focus. Let's do t-shirts. And obviously there's so much you need to learn with it. Not only learn on the business side, on the selling side, but also the design and all that stuff.
How to create the thing, it's the product.
Yeah. Correct. So we were just like, okay, how can we make this as quick as possible, right? Instead of focusing on one strategy, just one thing, and playing the long-term game. I think that would have been more beneficial. There's so many other factors that come with building a business to help it grow, obviously efficiently. But I that's the lesson that I'm taking out for this topic today on how much is too much.
I think too, at some degree, there was some FOMO, some fear of missing out on the next opportunity, right? Like that was the thing that we could do with our own hands, right? And we didn't really understand the power of teams, or like how can we find somebody that actually loves this process? We love the process of selling, of having these conversations, of delivering something of value to our audience, to our clients. I mean, we saw their faces when they saw the product. It ended up being really, really nice, but the process itself we struggled with, and we kept learning all these things because we had. At least me, I had like that personal fear, like, oh my gosh, like I don't know like all the little secrets of this thing. So how can I produce, right? So
I think, continue.
So bringing it back to today, right? Like where like most people are in their houses. Most people are discovering this online world. We've been on the online world for about 5 years now, working in different projects, and now really, really focusing on content. About 3 weeks ago, all these opportunities starting to pop up again, right? And we're part of these coaching groups, and that have been wonderful for our business. But we follow certain people, kind of like learning from them as well. And they're launching.
I think we see some of those as where we would like to be eventually
exactly.
in our journey.
So, and now, right? And this happened not so long ago. They threw a couple of offers our way to invest in some of their products. And we are currently in execution mode. But we went back to that place of, should we do this? Like, should we go in and dive in and learn a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what's behind the curtain. Like, I want to go see, I want to explore, I want to see what's behind it.
And I want to add something here. You should always be learning. That's actually one of our, company rules. I don't know how company, how we call those? I forgot. Well, it's one of the company's code of conduct is grow or die, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
We see constant growth, but at the same time, if we're in execution mode, okay, what are we currently learning just to add to that execution? Nothing
Yes.
too crazy. So the FOMO now that we got when we saw these people coming out with this cool stuff because of the situation that we're living in,
Yeah.
we were like, oh, like, should we get it? Like we know when it's a good deal. So we saw these people making those offers, and we're like, ooh, maybe we should go that. But that one would take us away from our execution mode, right? It wouldn't be a learning adding to it.
Yeah, and keep in mind this has been people that we follow for a long time, good tracking record. Like we've been around it. We never actually purchased directly from them yet. So that's where I come, like that place of like missing out of what they're offering. But like Fonzie say, right? It's gonna take us away from that place of focus, like that we decided, like we agree that that's what we need to do right now, which is executing on the plans that we have now, right? So with that, I want to transition a little bit to the last thing, right? Understand everything costs time and money.
Yeah.
Right. So we sat down and we actually had a discussion on, is this really worth it, right? Because the money, it was not too much of a problem. On my end, I thought it was more of a time issue on going through that content and then executing on something different that we're not doing now.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna, and sometimes it's gonna cost you both. Sometimes it's gonna cost you time and money, right? Because exactly what you just explained. What if we would have invested our money into these offers, right, that just came out, that they would have taken us away from our execution time? So then we would be spending time to learn it, time to implement those things, and those things might not align with the things that we're doing right now, and then we need to catch up with what we were doing before, costing us even more time. That sounded a little confusing, but yes, it can cost you both.
So I'm gonna throw
time and money.
I'm gonna throw like it's like, right. Let's say you love sports. Let's say you have been for the last 5 months. You've been like investing your time in playing soccer. We both play soccer growing up. So the last, bunch of years we've been playing. And, but let's say the last 5 months have been, I'm practicing soccer twice a day, double training, because obviously we're, stuck in our yard. This is not happening, by the way, but, but just imagine, right? So practicing soccer. So all my time, obviously I'm going to get better, right? Because I'm just focusing on one sport. The second you divide that attention and then you're like, hey, let me actually try some baseball. Then you start dividing that time, and then your time on how you're gonna get better is gonna exponentially like drop big time. And then you might get confused in some situations if you are not fully expert in one of those things, right? So once you fully dominated one of the sports and you want to experiment with something else, that's fine. But in the middle, that's what happens. And guess what? That's exactly what happened to me when I was like 8 years old, because I was actually training to play some soccer, and my best friend, Frankie, he was exceptional at baseball, and he was a wonder kid at 8 years old. So my dad took me to practice with him for the first time, and I kept hitting the T-ball, and I had no idea how to catch a ball. I had no idea how to do this, but soccer, because I've been playing it for a while, that was great. So my dad, thank God, interrupted the practice, and he's like, dude, that's it. You're not playing more baseball. Let's just focus on one sport for now.
That's it. Is you got to focus on one thing, right? And I'm going to bring this back to the self-education, right? And our story. And once we started investing in courses and we started diving in on like, oh, how do you do this? How do you do that? What is this new strategy coming out that is going to help us grow our business quicker, right? Boom. What is this new tactic? I think not strategy, tactics. We were so focused on learning the tactics. We were operating from place of need, quick cash. And it wasn't actually until we invested in actual people, right? Like the relationships and these events where we went and started talking to people that we realized that something that these people had in common is that they had that one thing they did extremely well and they put all their focus in, and that's the one thing they sold and they stuck with that, right? So at that moment, we decided to join a coaching program from the great Steve Larson. I have his shirt right here. Get rich, give back, baby. Oink, oink. And one of the things that they told us is like, hey, guys, you need to focus on one thing, right? You need to lead with your core offer. And that's exactly what we did. We said, okay, this is going to be our core offer, which we have been working on for a long time now. The longest we've been working for in something.
Yeah.
And it has produced results. And it's because we're constantly talking about that. We're constantly working about that. So we're making exponential progress on that one thing.
Yeah. Once you execute once, right, you can see the results. Then you can get, the feedback. Then you can better that thing.
Yeah.
And then you can execute again, and so on. Is an ongoing process, right?
I actually have a fun fact story just came up to my mind.
Yeah, sure.
It's about Frank Kern. I remember I was listening to one of his podcast episodes a while ago, and he told the story how when someone hires him, he goes back to them and he says, okay, in the last year, what is the strategy that worked the best for you, right? What
was the thing?
Yeah, what was that thing that you did that brought the most money to your business?
The ka-ching.
And people start looking, blah, blah, blah. They're like, no, not this one. Okay, this is the one strategy that I did that brought me so much money. And then he's like, okay, then why did you stop doing it? And the person said, well, because I wanted to try something else. And he's like, okay, well, we're going to do that one thing, that one exact same strategy again. And guess what?
It works again.
Consistency. If it worked before, it's probably going to work again. And he just keeps doing it, right? So he jokingly said, it's like, yeah, people are paying me for me to tell them to do something that they already did, right? But sometimes we need that kick in the butt.
Yeah.
So we actually realize what we've done. Because sometimes we've done something that provided results. And I think the problem here is that it provides results, but are not maybe results that are satisfying, for the expectations that you may have. Yeah, but then we don't know how to scale those results, right? So we need to pretty much accept the results that we got, be thankful that we got results, and then say, okay, how can I make more of these and scale from there on?
Yeah, I think if you're listening to this, right, and you have an entrepreneurial mind where like if you're running a business or you're creating a business or you've done businesses. I mean, if you're a successful business person, you probably already are past this, right? But if you're like in that process of building your business, you're probably being presented with different opportunities and different options. And you probably try one thing that worked. And then you, like my brother said, you changed
we
to
get
different thing. Shiny object syndrome, right? It's like, okay, this worked, and then I go the other way. So it happened. We've seen it in a lot of businesses, right? A lot of brick and mortars that we work with. They have these like amazing campaigns, and they do this project or this like tactic or this strategy one time. They get results, but because their expectations, because of external factors not related to their own business, they see they consider those negative results. They don't try it again. When in that moment, that's like, okay, I got results. Let me actually improve on this, and how can I do it? I'll give you an example, right? Let's say we're in a brick and mortar fitness studio, right? And we're running a campaign, a Facebook ads campaign, right? And then we hear in a different region than the cost per lead, which is that person that's interested and gives you that information, is about $15. right? So then this fitness studio in a different region runs a campaign and they get the lead at $20. So that's $5 extra. To their perception, because a similar business is getting that lead at $15 and not $20, then that campaign was considered a failure. And we've seen this in many, many, many businesses. It's not a failure. You got leads.
Yeah.
A little bit more expensive. So now that business is presented with two options. Either let's do it again. How can we get that cost per lead down, right? Or let's try something else so we can try. And then they go into this circle of learning something different, hiring a different agency, going through a different process.
Yeah, I think it comes to that comparison game.
Yeah.
Because they are comparing their business to someone else's, which, again, external factors can be totally different for that other business.
Yeah, big time.
Instead of looking, okay, we did this campaign. Let's look at our previous KPIs, because the only person or business that you should compare yourself to is yourself.
Yeah.
You know? So look where you were yesterday, look where you are today with that campaign, and then say, okay, I'm going to adapt. I'm going to make it better. I'm going to launch again, do it again, see the results. Am I getting better? Am I staying on the same spot? Right? Because again, going back to your example, they might have done a strategy before that they had leads a little bit more expensive, right? Like $25, let's say.
Yeah.
But since they were comparing up to the $15 of the other business, maybe they thought that was not successful. But if they compare to themselves where they were before, it is successful, right? Because you're
So I want to circle back a little bit to content. How can we apply this to content? So many times we see a lot of people that have not been publishing at all. So their first win is to publish, actually, consistency, right?
Yep.
So they start publishing once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, once a day, and then they get no traction, right? There's no people seeing. It's like, well, no kidding. You have never published. There's no audience out there for you. You have to be consistent for a while and then see what are the results. And it's funny, the other day, like somebody's like, well, you know, I only had 20 views during my entire video. And I'm like, whoa, that's like, imagine yourself, you're speaking in a room in front of 20 people. How does that feel?
I would get sweaty armpits, let me tell you.
And he sweats a ton. You don't want to see fancy sweaty armpits. And then, okay, so then once you start doing the content consistently for a while and you see those first results, let's say for a whole month or so, okay, what can I do now, right, that I feel comfortable with my message, that I achieved consistency, which is the hardest thing to achieve in environments like this. How can now be exposed to more people? And then that's the next question, that's the next phase, without neglecting the consistency of your publishing.
I mean, and sometimes you don't even need a huge audience to profit, guys. Because, again, we go back always to the 45 live example.
Yes.
Right? We started first video. Maybe we got like 1 view, 2 views. But it got a little better as we went. But it's not that by day 20, which is when we stopped, because we got so much business, right? Like, It's not like we had 100 people tuning in. We didn't even have 20 people tuning in to watch our videos live, right? So you don't really need that big of a following or an audience watching you when you create the content. People are going to find you. Yeah. If you're speaking the right message to the right person, it's going to resonate with them and they're going to want for you to solve their problem.
Yeah. I love it.
So we're going to move on into the action points of today's episode. But before we move on to the action points, guys, if you're watching in live, like, comment, and share the podcast, because that's how you can support us so we can reach more people and help as many as we can. If you are listening in the podcast platform, just give us a 5-star review.
Yeah.
And subscribe.
Smash that subscribe button. Thank you, guys.
That's
All right, Fonzi, what are the action points so we can wrap this up?
Well, first, we need to know what is the one thing you have more success with, right? Why do we want to know this one thing? Easy, because we're going to stuck with it for a very long time. So, again, you are learning. Cool. Grab one of those things that you learned, apply it. The one that you feel more comfortable with and the one that has given you results, use that one. That's going to be your one.
Can I give an example here?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So at the beginning of the year, we actually got this awesome book and we got a strategy from that book and we implemented it with one of our clients.
I think we created like a little hybrid.
Yeah, it was a hybrid between what we learned and some of the things that we were applying at the time, but it became like its own system, right? And we implemented with this client where in about 3 to 4 days, she got 1,200 emails. So that's a big number if you're listening. That's amazing.
And the following week,
on the following week, she sold $12,000 of a course that she never sold before. So we're like, wow, okay, I think we got a winner here, right?
Yep.
And then this is something that you could do like every 2 months, every 3 months, right? And because 1,200 leads, let's go back to the example of this fitness industry at $20 per lead. That's a ton of money. Right?
That's a ton of money. You would spend in ads.
And it's not just the front. It's like the opportunity that you can have to develop the relationship with these 1,200 people.
Yep.
Now, we kind of relegated that strategy for a long time, right? We're like, okay, that thing worked. Let's do the next thing, right? We went back to the whole of like,
we went back to that FOMO. What is the next big thing?
What is the next big thing? And we're like, well, we had this thing that worked. Why not do it again? So we tried it again with a little bit of a couple changes here and there. And that person was able to sell 220 people groups, right? Of $2,000 each. So she sold $40,000.
Oh, I think she got almost 40,000, which still
it's still a lot of money, right? From 12,000 to 40,000, right? For a small business, that's a ton of money. And she did it with the same strategy. The second time was a little bit. There were a few changes in there, but it was the main core strategy. And then we're like, okay, I think we got something here. It only took us 6 months. Let's try it again with another type of business, actually.
Different business, yeah.
Different business, different type of business.
So the first one, just people get a clear image here.
Yeah.
She sold $12,000 of a digital product. That she had.
Yes.
She never sold any of that product before.
Nothing.
And then we went to a brick and mortar and we're like, let's test the same strategy, but this time with the brick and mortar, right?
And they had like no cost per lead. They had no idea what it was. Like they had no like sales process. Like it was a very new business. They were doing really, really well, but they had like no consistent strategy to do this. So we're like, okay, this is perfect. Let's test this out. And so we executed the strategy. We got a little less than 2,000 leads. In a period of 5 days, no Facebook ads, same strategy. And immediately after, they booked 300 sessions in the next 24 hours for people to come into their studio for an opportunity to test the services and an opportunity for selling. And they bought $1,000 before they even went into the studio.
That you can reinvest
into your Facebook ads if they choose to try it out. So this is the third time that we executed that same strategy. No changes whatsoever compared to the first two. And we got these awesome results. So on our end, because we've seen those results, we're like, okay, that feels like normal to us, right? Okay, we have a benchmark. I think like that those are the good numbers.
Yep.
And then we went to this conference and we're sharing these numbers with some of the friends or the people that do that talk about digital marketing, all this stuff, and they could not believe it. They're like, wait, what? How many emails? Like, how many leads are coming in? And we actually had a guy sitting from Tallahassee, and he's like, can I jump on a call so you can like explain this to me? And like that was right before everybody had to go home. So I'm like I'm dying to see what these guys can do, because he's like, dude, with these kind of numbers, I wanna try this out. And again, if you want to know it, obviously reach out to us. We're happy to share. We're happy to share that strategy with you.
Yeah. I think that led
that
to
was our thing, right?
I think that was the one thing. Point number 2, which is pick the one strategy and stay consistent to it,
yes.
right? So we picked the one thing, which is the story that he just told, and now we are making it consistent. We are working on it. Every time we need a campaign or a client, boom, this is the strategy we're going to do.
Exactly.
And stay tuned, because we're actually creating a product around that. And we're going to bring it to you guys so you guys can have those awesome results.
So if you're listening on the podcast, send us, I want to know that strategy. Yeah. And if you're listening live today, thumbs up, comment below. Yeah,
just send us a DM on Instagram and we would be extremely happy to chat with you. Now, again, the action points are, what is the one thing you have more success with?
Yes.
Write it down. Pick one strategy to stay consistent with and test it. Again, test. If we don't test, we are not going to know if it works or not. As simple as that. Then after you test it, you check the results. Let me check the results that I have right now. Let me check the results that I had a week from now, a week ago.
Yeah, and start adapting.
And then adapt your strategy.
Yep.
You can, obviously the idea of adapting is to make it better. But if it's working, sometimes it doesn't need to be changed at all, right?
Yeah.
So guys, I think that's it. Those were the action points for you.
Love it.
Yeah, make sure to do your homework. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below.
Go to containsprofit.com. You can leave it there too. We're happy to respond.
Yeah. Or if you're listening on the podcast, you can also send us a DM. Slide in those DMs. We are extremely happy to talk to you at any given moment.
Thank you, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. Follow us on social media at BIZBROSCO. Share the content with the people. Share the podcast. Rate it. Share it on Facebook. And go to containsprofit.com. Leave us your number one question. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. And we'll see you on the
We
next one.
love you. We'll see ya.